This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Alabama fans. Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, West Alabama. How we doing today? This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. You're watching us on the BamaCentral YouTube channel. I appreciate everybody who is subscribed to the BamaCentral YouTube channel. You can find us right there, or you can find us at Joe Gaither6 on your favorite social media machines, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We appreciate everybody for jumping in and joining us. And today, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk some more about the Alabama-Georgia game. We're joined by my friend Mason Woods. You can follow him on Twitter at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine. But you can tell we're in somewhere a little bit different. We're in the Derek Daniel Statefarm Studios. That's right. We're in Derek Daniel's office, and you can come visit us right here off of McFarland Boulevard. We appreciate it if you did. Make sure you give us a call at 205-758-3391 for all your insurance needs. Derek Daniel and his team, Red, Reese, and Victoria. Red already got me hooked up today, getting us into the studio. They'll get you through your insurance needs. You need to make sure you're taken care of with your home, life, and auto insurance, especially in this town with all the crazy drivers coming from all out of state. We appreciate Derek Daniel for making us at home, making us feel at home in the Derek Daniel Statefarm Studios. I cannot wait to be broadcasting from here from the future. If you see us sweating today, it's because Mason and I worked real hard getting this place arranged, but Derek set everything up in motion. So Derek's a great guy. He's helping me out. He'll help you out. Make sure you call him. Here today, and we're going to tackle really what the Alabama coaches learned from this past Saturday's game against Georgia. Alabama wins 41-34. You're all on fire about the game. You're all just still reliving Ryan Williams and that spin move, and just what an amazing play. But I think there was a lot of lessons in that game. So we invite you to jump in on the comments section at Joe Gaither6 on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Come visit us sometime in the Derek Daniel studio right off of McFarland Boulevard. You can find us just past the Tiger Rock on the left, right off on Highway 69, right there on the left-hand side. We're going to have a lot of fun broadcasting from here. Let's get it going with what Alabama coaches learned from this past Saturday, or what we learned about them. Mason, let's start with the 28-0 lead. First off, I'm in the press box, and I'm thinking, what in the world is going on? You drive down the field. We addressed it yesterday. The 3 offensive penalties on the first drive, and you overcome them all. You have a full start. You have an illegal shift, and you had a holding. The holding call sets you back to 1st and 20, and Georgia sends 6 to your 5. Jalen Milroe magic gets out of the defensive lineman's grasp and gets you to 2nd and 3. How many times in the game in the first half you had plays that were just chunk plays, that it was, I'll drop off a 6-yard pass to CJ Dupree, a 4-yard pass to Kendrick Law, a 4-yard pass to Ryan Williams right in the flats, and they'll turn it into 8, 9, 12 yards. It was, I thought, a masterclass offensively and really defensively. You got some breaks on the defensive side of the ball, but from a coaching standpoint, to jump out to the 28-0 lead, what I learned in the press box, or what I learned watching back, is that Alabama is going to be just fine. You went into the season. Look, take you all the way back to January. You thought, oh my gosh, ding dong, the dynasty's dead. Coach Saban's retiring. Who the hell is Kalen DeBoer? Where is Sioux Falls? Right? Oh goodness gracious, yeah, he took Washington to the national championship, but is he a one-year wonder? Sure, you did some nice things at Indiana and Fresno State, but who is this guy? Can he come into the SEC and coach against the big boys? And the Georgia Bulldogs were pretty much salivating at the chance to establish themselves as the kings in the SEC. And I know they won 2 national championships in the last 3 years. So, yes, they have the current crown, but they're looking to establish themselves as the real kings without Nick Saban. There was some trepidation. There was some angst. Will these guys from Washington, will this guy from South Alabama, right, Can this guy from South Alabama come in and coach an Alabama defense and get them off to a good start, get them to an aggressive defense? Can they slow down a Carson Beck? a veteran-led offense. Can they play against Texas? We'll see about some of these other offenses, but what they proved on Saturday is, yes, at least in the start, the plan going in was perfect, about as perfect as you can be. Now, you got some breaks. The Georgia miscommunication on the screen goes right into Damani Jackson's hands, sets you up for a short field touchdown. Things are going your way. The momentum monster was just snowballing on Georgia. What you sort of failed to do was, you're up 28-0. Continue to pile on. You had 2 drives, really 3 drives in the end of the first half. The first drive ends with 4th and 1. Justice Haynes gets blown up by Blazing Dan Jackson on the right there at the line of scrimmage. Come on, Justice Haynes. You got to get more out of Justice Haynes in the running game. And then next drive, interception right off of CJ Dupree's hands. Then third drive, you probably end up on the wrong end of a call. Kalen DeBoer loses his mind on a pass interference on 3rd and 13. But what did you do to set up 3rd and 13? You called this stinking double reverse pass screen to Jeremy Bernard off to the left-hand side. He gets blown up for a 7-yard loss. So you let the momentum slip. You had things rolling your way. Everything's going Alabama's way, and you opted, instead of kicking a field goal, putting Graham Nicholson out there to go up. What would that have been? 31-0? 31-0, or was it already 28-7 at that point? You would have gone up, but you get stopped 4th and 1. Georgia gets a little momentum. They run off the field. Hey, man, the avalanche has finally ceased. We got out from under the snow a little bit. And then the next drive, okay, bad luck, bouncing off CJ Dupree's hand. CJ said he should have caught it. Maybe Jalen shouldn't have thrown it into traffic a little bit. It was a tight window, real tight window. And it goes right into, once again, Blazing Dan Jackson's hands. And so Georgia starts to build momentum towards the end of the first half. Right. And you go into the halftime feeling great. What is it? 30-37. You get the safety. You're feeling great. Yeah. You're bummed out about the official's decision to not throw the pass interference. It was a pretty blatant pass interference, but that's the way the game goes. Sometimes good calls and bad calls go against you or for you. Like, you just got to roll with the punches. What you shouldn't be doing is calling these stinking trick plays out of nowhere when regular offense is really still working well. Now, in the second half, what we saw was go back to the regular offense. Well, we're hitting the RPOs. I mean, you had an RPO in the first play of the second half, and you don't give the ball to Justice Haynes when you probably should. Ryan Williams doesn't see the call, and Jalen Milroe is in no man's land, and everybody's looking at him. He gets tackled for 1-yard loss. Things start to, you go 3 and out quickly. You have an incompletion, and you have a completion short of the sticks, and you're off the field. I think that really what these Alabama coaches learned is, hey, we can game plan our ass off. We can game plan for anyone. We can evaluate film, obviously, very clearly. They evaluated the Georgia film over the first 3 weeks. I tried my best looking at the Clemson and Kentucky game. I'm thinking, I don't know whether I like this team that much. But they looked at the film over the last 3 weeks, and they looked into the film from last year, Georgia's tendencies, Mike Bobo, those sorts of things, Carson Beck, what he likes to do, and they put together a great plan, offensively and defensively. They came out there, delivered a haymaker. But what they also learned was it's not good enough in the SEC. The first round, the first punch knockout, the first quarter knockout, it's not good enough. It's not the Pac-12. It's not South Alabama. The first quarter knockout is not enough. In the SEC, particularly in a top 5 matchup, particularly against a 2 out of the last 3 national championship winner. I mean, come on, give them their credit. They won 2 in a row. They are operating at an elite level. No matter how you feel about Kirby Smart, they are operating at an extremely elite level. They weren't just going to lay down at 28-0. And so they learned, while taking the win, luckily, that they've got to keep going. You got to keep pouring it on. You got to keep taking advantage. 4th and 1 right there, up 28-0. Right in fourth field goal range, maybe that's a good time to go ahead and kick that field goal, right? Or put a better play on Justice. We got to get something out of you. I just think that really it was a masterclass of coaching, a lot of lessons learned. We learned as a fan base. We learned as people covering the team that these guys, they can coach against Kirby Smart. They can coach against the top level. If and when you go against Steve Sarkisian, you're going to have a good plan. When you go up to Knoxville, you're going to have a good plan. But I think they also learned, Mason Woods, and I'll get you to come in right here as I take a deep breath, to have more than one plan. You got to have more than one chapter in your plan. You got to, if this plan works, you get out to a 28-0, they're probably going to adjust. And Georgia made some adjustments on the defensive side of the ball, executed a little bit better. It slowed you down offensively. And really, on the Georgia offensive side of the ball, they just took the shackles off and said, what the hell, we'll just go for it. And you got to be ready for that. That's hard. You got to start plan for the different chapters of each game. Each game has different lives, has 2 or 3 different lives in it. And I think that Alabama on Saturday showed that they had a great plan for the first part of the game, to the initial chapter, but the second and third chapters of the game left a little bit to be desired.
Yeah, I mean, I really think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. I think, you look back at the second half of the game, and it's pretty obvious what happened there. Georgia came out striking, and Alabama kind of came out flat in the second half there. And, it makes you wonder if maybe that's taking a foot off the gas a little bit. Maybe that's a bit of Georgia making adjustments. I think it probably goes both ways. But I think, I want to get back to what you were kind of just talking, what you were just hitting on there, the coaching staff looking so incredibly prepared for this game. And I think it goes back to something that me and you talked about even like a few months ago. It's a crazy thing to maybe say out loud, but is this coaching staff better off now that they have this new staff in? Kalen DeBoer in at head coach was able to bring along a lot more higher quality assistants than Nick Saban was able to get in his last few years at Alabama. So it makes you, pose the question, is the staff overall better as a whole? And I think that game against Georgia kind of showed that it might be.
It might be. And Mason, to your point, I know I watched it from the press box, but I got to see the TV copy. They kept showing Nick Saban, and he kept having that smoldering look on him.
He didn't look as happy as I expected him to look.
Was he jealous? Was he thinking, oh, these mother bleepers are making them forget about me? Oh, these guys are going to be just fine without me. Or was he up there thinking, I never dominated Kirby like this? He had that smirk on his face with the arms crossed. Was he thinking, I wish I would have got Kirby this way?
There was a very, very noticeable one moment, especially in particular, where the camera panned to him and he legs crossed, hand on his chin, just sitting there, blank face, staring at it, had that Saban scowl. And yeah, I did kind of wonder for a second, like, oh man, I think he's a little pissed off now. I think that made him a little mad, seeing, oh, the new guy comes out here and does something I wasn't quite able to do in my time there. No one's going to forget about you, coach, obviously. But I don't think it's crazy to think that maybe he was feeling that a little bit in the press box or in his suite there on Saturday night.
You think he was texting Kirby some adjustments, some halftime adjustments? Hey man, you got to start saving this. So we can't have a 35. We can't have a 42-7.
Kirby, you're letting a 17-year-old run all over you. What are you doing?
Kirby, when next time you come out, run this deep. He's running my defense. Here's the plays to start running. He started texting the adjustments.
It was certainly interesting is the best way I can put it. I don't genuinely think that Saban is up there sitting there angry that the University of Alabama is winning a football game.
Of course.
But from a pure humanity standpoint, I think there's definitely some feelings there where he's kind of like, yeah, what's happening?
Well, it was a blast. And so let's talk about it. Let's kind of move it forward. You learn these lessons. You got the lessons of, hey, we're confident in our abilities to prepare. We can prepare for anybody. And you're going to have some tough preparations ahead. Tennessee, which comes immediately to mind. And whether you think Hugh Freeze is good or bad, that preparation is going to be a little bit challenging. He runs a little bit of, that'll be a challenging offense to prepare for. There will be tough preparations ahead of you with teams that are trying to get you. I think that you walk into every game from here on out feeling, whatever Alabama is, whatever Nick Sheridan, Caleb DeBoer, whatever Kane Womack have decided that they're going to do schematically, it's at least going to be Alabama's best bet to start off well and to. Now, my concern, and I'll ask you, are you concerned with what you saw about Alabama's ability to adjust, or do you think maybe the coaching staff was like me? Because here's what I'm on the press box and up there in the third quarter, and I'm chilling. I'm eating popcorn. I'm sipping Diet Coke. I'm sipping my coffee. I'm chilling. I got no thought of comeback in my brain. I'm thinking it's going to be easy to write my recap. Alabama knocks out, holds on, or cruises to victory, blah, blah, blah. And it sort of snuck up on me, the comeback. Maybe it did you in the stands or watching from home. Do you think that there should be concern for these Alabama coaches and their ability to adjust? Or do you think maybe, it was a little bit like me, everything started to sneak up on them real fast?
Just from my perspective, it definitely snuck up on me a little bit. I mean, I remember, I was sitting there watching the game in my living room. And the next thing I know, I'm like, oh, they've scored twice to no points from, I turned to look at my buddy who was watching the game, and I just said, all right, we have a problem. This is a problem. And he was like, no, wait. I said, no, this is an issue. And then sure enough, next thing you know, Georgia takes the lead. But I think you're maybe onto something a little bit with the just the notion of this being the SEC. This is not the Pac-12. This is not South Alabama. This is not anywhere else any of these other coaches have been, where maybe you have the luxury of jumping out to a 28-0 lead in the first half and then just cruising to victory the rest of the way. That just doesn't happen in the SEC most of the time, especially when you're dealing with a team like Georgia, who is uber talented at every single position on the field, all 22 players out there. So I think it was maybe a little bit of taking the foot off the gas some, just thinking, let's keep them from winning as opposed to us going out and forcing the win ourselves.
1,000%.
But I also think it was a lot of really impressive adjustments from Kirby Smart and Georgia.
Sure. They have a drive there. One of their first scoring drives in the second half, where I'm sitting there with Katie Wyndham, our lead writer for BamaCentral, and they score, and I think it was a 10-play drive, and I think it might have taken over 4 minutes on the clock. Something. It was a long drive. It was like 10-play drive. It was a long drive, and she said, "Okay, look." And I said, "Well, they're not gonna make a living like that." But before you know it, when we get down there, it was, oh man, you've got a real game here. I just wonder if things started to creep up. And to your point of Alabama trying to not lose the game, I think there was a little bit of a how do we ride this beast? How do we ride this lead all the way to the end without having it turn its head and bite us? Mm-hmm. And they flirted with that. It almost did. I mean, you take the lead. Dylan Bell, you take the lead. You give Georgia a lot of credit. I'm walking away from that game, Mason, thinking, if I'm the Crimson Tide, I don't want to play them again.
Absolutely not.
That
was the first thing I said when the game ended was, man, I hope they don't have to play them again.
Yeah, you hope they go to Texas and lose, or Ole Miss and lose. You hope that you don't have to see them in Atlanta, because if that second, granted, new game, new slate, everything goes a different way. And I'm not sitting here saying that Alabama got lucky. That's not the case. Alabama won the game. Ryan Williams went out and won the game. Xavier Brown won the game. They made game-winning plays. It wasn't like major mistakes. So, but I'm walking away thinking, okay, the adjustments in the second half, how would that play out over a second game? Would this coaching staff be able to say, all right, we take those 4 quarters, we encapsulate them, and we throw everything into the blender, and we come out with a new game plan? Again, I'd be confident in Nick Sheridan and Kalen DeBoer. But I think that Georgia, in that second half in Bryant Denny Stadium, when the environment was the seventh ring of hell right there, just loud as can be, I think they found some real confidence in themselves. And I think that I'd be afraid if I saw Georgia on my schedule the rest of the year, because I think that they found out that they got a real dude at quarterback. That Mike Bobo just needs to, hey, man, shackles off. No, the rest of the year, shackles off. You let him get down the field. That's going to be a dangerous football team.
This feels like a Georgia going on a just absolute decimation tour for the rest of the season and just murdering the rest of their schedule. Am
I building them up in my head?
I don't think so. That 28-point lead in the first half it happened so quickly. It was like you blinked and Alabama was up 28-0, and it was just like, all right, well, that's the game.
Yeah.
And they said no. Georgia just said, no thanks. We'll go to halftime. We'll lick our wounds. We'll come back out here and we'll punch you in the mouth. And that's exactly what they did. Kirby Smart called a shot. He went into halftime. He fired his boys up and he came out and he did the dang thing. Almost. If it wasn't for Ryan Williams, we'd be sitting here maybe having a different conversation right now.
All right, let's wrap up right here as you get. Yeah, perfect. Before we get into our last topic, Mason, giving me the time signal, reaching the time goal that I wanted to. Again, this is just an experimental episode. I want to tell you about Derek Daniel again, because that's where we're sitting today. We're sitting in the Derek Daniel Statefarm Studios right here in his office, right off McFarland Boulevard. And this is a new adventure for us. If you like it, let us know in the comments. You can let us know at Joe Gaither 6. But please call Derek Daniel for all your all your insurance needs. 205-758-3391. Red, Reese, and Victoria, they'll be happy to take care of you, run you a quick auto insurance quote, talk to you about life insurance. Look, if you're a father, if you're a husband, you need to make sure that you have life insurance, period. End of story. You need to make sure you have life insurance for the rest of your family. So make sure you call them today, 205-758-3391, and keep watching us right here in the Derek Daniel Statefarm Studios. So, Mason, I want to finish with this, and we appreciate your time helping me set this place up today. I want to finish with Ryan Williams. Will you do me a favor and pull up his season stats? Because I didn't take good notes today because we're just kind of sitting here. But by my count, he is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touchdowns for the year. And he's at how many receptions? So give it to us.
We're at 16 catches, 462 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Now, I'm not sure if you have kept up with this. That is right in line with Devontae Smith's Heisman-winning season.
Thank you. Take us there. Because I want to ask you this is what we're seeing from a 17-year-old child in 4 games. Because I love Devontae. You know, between you and me, I'm a Jerry Jeudy guy. I love Jerry Jeudy's feet. Everyone and their mother loves Julio Jones, and no one has any bad things to say about Amari Cooper. You have great wide receivers over the last decade and a half, and this child might eclipse them all in a matter of 4. Can you fathom it?
I have done nothing but talk with people this week about him. Like, he is so much better than my wildest dreams even imagined he would be. And it's not an exaggeration to say that. Like, that is the craziest part. He is so absurdly good that it's like watching Calvin Johnson play against middle school. Like, it's I can't even put into words just how good he is.
And it's not even, I mean, yes, very talented, but you look at his size. I mean, what's he officially at? 6 foot, 165 pounds. I mean, my man's is not dominating because he is 6'6",
No.
280 pounds. No, he is just nimble and just, it's the body control that is so spectacular.
I heard someone say today about him. They said, I've never seen anyone other than a gymnast with the body control that he has. And I think that's perfectly accurate. He has complete control over every square inch of his body. You saw it on that last touchdown. He catches the ball, spins, cuts back, makes 2 guys kiss each other, and then takes it for 6 and wins the game. It was just incredible. Like, he is so special. And I really don't even know if people quite grasp how good he is yet.
So where do we go from here with him? Is it just sit back and enjoy it? Or, you know, I started seeing this on comment, and I don't even want to make it like a conversation, but he's going to do Justin Jefferson. He's going to play. He's going to play 2 years. And dude, this young man is not only the talent, but I think it's the character that we're just starting to understand. And okay, wherever you stand on the fingernail paint or not, the reason he comes out, I'm doing it for my sister. And you think about it, what if your sister, what if you had a chance to put your sister on some sort of business path, right? There's the sisters right at 13, I think is what it is. And okay, you can talk about manly or not manly or whatever you want to do. I don't care. That is a silly dispute. But to me, I am seeing as Ryan Williams, I'm bringing my family with me. I'm putting everything on. And he is just the same sort of, he walking off the field on Saturday night. I told Xavier Brown he's going to have a game-winning interception in this game. And it's just, everything about him is just unlike anything I've ever experienced. I've been asking people, and this is totally wild, so please take it for that. But I've been asking people, do you believe in aliens? Do you believe in other, like, is it even possible that he's not human? I think that's obviously silly. I do think that's silly. But there's just something unexplainable about him.
I fully agree. And it's unfathomable that he's a 17-year-old. I know everyone has hammered that to death since he started playing, but he is 17. And he's like the most likable, he does great in any interview, any press conference, anything like that. He's extremely personable. He's great on camera. He does his own social media. Like, he's just, it's not something you see out of 17-year-olds ever. And for him to be doing it, and he's already in college, already one of the best receivers in college, it's just really insane. It's incredible. And, I'm glad that he's at Alabama.
Last thing for us, Mason, where do you think that game ranks as far as Bryant-Denny Stadium atmosphere? And I'll keep it real quick because that's all I want to know.
I gotta go. I went to 2019 LSU.
That's what people were talking about.
Yeah, I did not go to this game. It looked like it topped that game. From the television broadcast, it looked like it topped 2019 LSU. Obviously, they didn't win that game, but the atmosphere was still incredible. I will remember that day the rest of my life. But it sure looked like it topped it.
It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun being there for Bama Central, and I've had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys on the Bama Central YouTube channel today. But a lot of fun hanging out in the Derek Daniel Statefarm Studios. We're going to be trying this as we continue on. I cannot thank Mason Woods coming up here to help me set this up enough. Follow Mason Woods at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine. We're gonna have a lot of fun making this maybe a little bit better for you guys, making the presentation a little bit better. Hopefully, we can get some guests in here and cut some cameras up and have a whole lot of fun right here in the Derek Daniel Statefarm Studios. We've had a lot of fun today, and we'll do it again tomorrow right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.